Hi everyone, welcome to our gentle yin and restorative yoga. Make sure that you have a pillow, a couple of yoga blocks or more pillows, a blanket or beach towel, and a strap. And let's begin in a restorative posture in which you take your pillow and place it so that it traces the midline of your mat towards the rear end of your mat. And then as you sit with your pelvis just behind that bottom edge of the pillow, lean back so the pillow traces the back of your spine. And then adjust where the bottom end of that pillow is. If it feels like it's compressing your lower back or bothering it at all, you can slide the pillow further up the mat towards the rear so that it lands more under your rib cage. So just take a moment to adjust that as you need. And then you could either splay your elbows apart, sort of like Julian was demonstrating, cactus arms, the palms face up, backs of the hands land on the floor. Or you could turn the palms up with the arms straight out to the sides. Whatever feels that your shoulders are opening up in the front. And go ahead and slide your shoulder blades further down your back. And then keeping your knees bent, separate your feet on the mat so they're wider than your hips distance apart. Then allow your knees to drop together so they touch. You begin to open across the sacrum like this. And then you might choose to close your eyes, scanning your attention throughout your physical body. Gathering information through your senses of how you can nourish yourself through this practice of yoga today. As you feel into the way you're breathing naturally, notice how you're feeling in your mind, energy, and emotions. And as you're lying here, perhaps take a moment to set your intention. You're choosing to focus on and cultivate in this practice today. Or dedicate the efforts of your practice for someone or something you care about. And as though gathering all the tools that you might need within yourself, including inspiration, to move towards that intention. Take a deep inhalation. And as though sending out that intention, open your mouth, let any sound out. Couple more breaths, inhaling, maybe even slower. Feel into where your breath is physically expanding. Hold it in for a few seconds, maybe play with sipping in a little more air. And then as you're ready, open the mouth, make any sound all the way to the bottom. Holding it out on empty, few seconds there. And then try that one more cycle of breath. Completely emptying your breath. Let's begin Ujjayi Pranayama, in which you close your lips, if that's possible for you to do here, and sustain your breath equally in and out through your nose, while gently narrowing the back of your throat so that you can listen to a soft, subtle whispering sound as you breathe. And now keeping your feet apart on the floor as they are, wider than hips distance, separate your knees just as wide apart as your feet. And on your next in-breath, slowly drop your thighs both to the right side as far as they'll go comfortably. And on your next out-breath, lifting your knees, drop them over to the left. And just like that, like a mini vinyasa flow or breath-led movement, inhale your knees up and over to the right. Exhale your knees up and over to the left. A few more times. And now the next time you drop your knees to the right, let's keep them there. Align your left knee so that it traces the midline of your mat. Might scoot the left heel closer to your left hip. And then as you raise your arms up overhead, feel the sides of your torso left and right lengthen. But let your shoulders rest away from your neck. Bending elbows, catch hold of opposite ones with your hands. And now you can stay right here or explore the feeling of crossing your right ankle above your left knee onto your left thigh. Let's tune into about 10 slow, conscious breaths here. We've been discussing in the past few days of yoga classes what yoga philosophy calls the 4 functions of the mind, or in Sanskrit, antarkarana. And today we highlight chitta. You might remember that the Yoga Sutras defines yoga. One definition is yoga chitta vritti nirodha, which means yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. So how does chitta play a role in calming the waves of the mind? Let's finish about 3 more cycles of breath on this side. If you're crossing your right ankle onto your left thigh, slowly uncross that leg. Lift both of your knees as you separate your feet on the ground again, wider than hips distance, so that your knees are separated just as wide apart. Then gently drop your knees to the left side, pointing your right knee down the midline of your mat. Now with your arms still overhead, try switching the cross of the elbow or arm that's on top. You might also explore crossing your left ankle just above your right knee onto your right thigh as you're lengthening the front of your right thigh towards the front of your mat. Then again, feel into 10 spacious breaths. So sharing a bit more about chitta, as you might remember, its function is to organize and store all the experience of the sensory motor mind. What we take in through our senses, through every cell in our body, and put them into samskaras. Yesterday, I mentioned that samskaras are these imprints of repeated thoughts that create deep grooves, habits, patterns, and they form our memories, emotional patterns, impressions. Strong samskaras shape our overall personality, our character style, our traits, and they directly color or distort neutral information that we take in through our senses to create projections and even false projections that color our reality. So finishing Another breath or two here. Gently lift your knees, set your feet on the floor so that you can slowly press into the ground and either turn over to one side or rise forward, finding a comfortable seat. You may want to grab a blanket to sit on as we take a moment to circle around the spine. So as you're sitting, plant your hands face down onto your lap, root your pelvis downward, lift through your crown as you relax your shoulders. And maybe with the eyes closed, inhale, circle your spine to one side, then forward. Exhale, other side and back. Taking several more Sufi rolls here to a slow pace of breath. And so, according to David Frawley, who wrote about Ayurveda and the functions of the mind, the anatomy of the mind's apparatus from the yogic perspective is not unlike Sigmund Freud, mental topography, with several disparate components overlapping and vying for dominance in the thought process. So you might think of chitta as the lakebed that holds the other functions of the mind, the buddhi, manas, ahamkara, or ego. As you're circling the spine, start to move organically, switching directions as you feel, exploring here. Also circling out the shoulders if you like, circling out the head. Several more cycles of breath. And so chitta, that lake bed, holds the unconscious, the subconscious, the self-conscious, and superconscious. It's the internal ground of the mind. It's a giant storehouse of impressions, or samskaras. So the triumvirate, the inner triumvirate responsible for consciousness, is composed of manas, buddhi, the discerning mind, and ahamkara. As you come back through center, take a deep inhale and roll your shoulders forward, then up. Exhale your shoulders back and down. A few more times on your own pace. Let's switch directions. Inhale your shoulders behind you and up. Exhale them forward and down. Several more. And then releasing the shoulders, drop your chin towards your chest. We'll slowly, gently circle the head in one direction as you're breathing here. And when you finish, circle it once in the opposite direction. Extending your left arm straight out to the left, flexing at your wrists. Take your right hand and place it on the left side of your skull so that you're gently leaning your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Sitting up tall from the lower spine, plug the pelvis down, and then let your shoulders soften downward too. Inhale, slowly turn your head as you're leaning it towards your right shoulder. Look up towards the sky. Using your right hand as traction, exhale, slowly turn your head to look down under your right armpit. Take your time, about 3 more cycles of moving. Inhaling as your gaze turns upwards. Exhaling as you look downward. All the while, feel the flexing of your left wrist. The heel of your left palm is actively pressing outward towards the left wall of your room. Your left fingers are reaching up towards the sky with energy. And then finish this off. Lift up the crown of your head. Backstroke your right hand to the ground behind your pelvis. Raise your left arm up. Take a deep inhale. With your shoulders still relaxed, exhale, turn your rib cage so you're facing your right wall And then use your left hand to press into your legs. Maybe use the back of the hand to press the outside of your right thigh. And then feel into the surface below your pelvis. Press into it and rebound and lift up through the center of your spine, breathing in. Let your belly soften as you continue to rotate your rib cage. We've got about 7 more breaths here, exploring the range of your twist. You can see how it feels to look behind you over your right shoulder. Maybe switch. Imagine the alignment of your spine here. Can you center it so that the top of your head is resting just above your tailbone? Spine is as vertical as possible. And then notice your chin. Let your chin be parallel to the floor, and as though it were a drawer gently closing, glide your chin slightly towards the back of your throat, and then continue to lift up through the back of your skull. Then notice the energy of your face, relaxing the muscles around your eyes, your jaw, your tongue. Let's take one more deep breath here. As you're exhaling, unwind, come back to center. Let's switch the cross of your legs if they're crossed. Extend your right arm out to the right, flexing at your wrists. Use your left hand to gently help your head to fall towards your left shoulder. Feel your lower back here upright, not slumping down. And then keeping your left hand on your skull, inhale, slowly turn your head to look up towards the sky. Exhale, gently turn your head to look down below your left armpit. And then keep going about 3 more cycles of your breath, slow and mindful. All the while, you're actively flexing your right wrist, extending the fingertips up towards the sky with active energy, as if any tension along the right side of your neck, shoulders, forearm and wrist could pour out through the heel of your right palm. And as you're finishing this round, gently lift the top of your head, bring your spine upright, and then backstroke your left hand to the ground behind your pelvis. Raise your right arm up. Press into the surface below and take a deep inhale as you lift to your crown. Along your waistline, exhale, twist to your left side and press your right hand onto your legs. You might press the back of the hand against your left thigh. It's reachable without losing the spaciousness of your spine. So realign crown of the head above tailbone. Collarbones open wide. Tops of your shoulders releasing down. Breath by breath, spiraling across the middle of your torso. And feel out where your head wants to turn. Maybe you're looking over your left shoulder. And also here, notice the positioning of your chin as you parallel it to the floor below. Glide your chin gently towards the back of your throat, then lift up through the back of your skull. About 4 more deep breaths here. And as you're exhaling, gently unwind your spine. Please find a strap. You may want to use it. And step the ball of your left foot into the loop or the middle of that strap. while extending your left leg forward, flexing the foot. Then take your right thigh as I'm mirroring you, cross it as much as you can over your left thigh so that knees stack down the midline. Now, if you don't have a strap, you can place your hands alongside your hips and you'll walk them forward on the ground. Otherwise, use enough slack in the strap so that you're able to roll your shoulders behind your ears and down your back while sitting tall. Feel this open space at your throat. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, begin to hinge from your hips, keeping your throat and chest open. And feeling as though you have a flat back, so we're not rounding here. Just finding the amount you can fold breath by breath while maintaining integrity in your spine. And as you're flexing your left foot, spread your toes and press the big toe mound forward. And as you're gently pulling the strap, you can flare the elbows apart. And let's feel into about 5 more deep breaths here. Notice where in your body you might visualize directing your breath. Areas of stuckness or heightened sensation. Now gently press your belly towards your back. So a little firming in the abdomen. Begin to lift your sternum as you inhale, and then the rest of your spine follows. Remove the strap and let's step the ball of your right foot into it. Cross your left thigh as much as you can over the right, maybe stacking your knees down your midline. So if no strap, hands are on the floor. Otherwise, flex your foot and pull the strap too. Sit up a little taller if you can as you breathe in. Exhale, begin to hinge from your hips. Use the inhales to pause and lengthen your spine where it is while grounding your pelvis. And then the exhales to maybe fold in some more. Just finding the amount that allows you to keep your throat open and your shoulders spaciously away from your ears. And as you're flexing your right foot, spread the toes, press the big toe mound forward. What's calling your attention here? What could you perhaps breathe into? For about 5 more breaths. In Ardha Gomukhasana, half cow face pose. As you're firming the belly towards your back, begin to lift your sternum, inhaling, slowly rise up. And let's put the strap aside for now, just for a moment, as we come down onto our hands and knees to move the spine a bit, very gently into a few rounds of cat-cow. Setting your knees a couple inches behind your hips. You may want to stretch your inner wrists and forearms too by spinning out your hands so that your fingertips face the left and right sides of your mat, or maybe your knees. So wrists are just about under the shoulders. As you inhale, glide your spine forward, then roll your shoulders back, coiling your chest up as you look up. As you exhale, draw the belly inward, tuck the tailbone under, drop your skull, rounding your back. into cat pose. Keep going. Inhale, lengthen the spine, glide it forward. Peel your shoulders back, lift your heart. Cow pose. Exhale, contract your abdomen, scoop the tailbone under, bowing as you dome your back. Several more, following a slow, steady breath. About 2 more breaths here. Vidalasana, cat-cow. And then relax to neutral spine. We're going to set it for what's called heart melting pose. So anahata. You're going to take your 2 blocks, place them on their tallest height. Now, you can try this out, and if you feel like they're too high, you can place them on their medium height, sort of like a number 11 in front of you. I'm going to start with tallest height, so they are crossing the mat in front. And as you keep your hips right above your knees, extend your arms forward so that the heels of your palms land on the blocks. And as you keep your arms straight, rotate your outer upper arms or triceps downward so that it broadens across your shoulders. It spreads the shoulder blades across the upper back. And then as you do that, you might have to step the knees back a bit, keeping the hips right above the knees. Slightly firm your belly, so we're not completely letting the belly just dump down, which can cause strain in the lower back. Firm the belly so that you're supporting the lower back, and then begin to lower your chest towards the floor. As you're lowering your chest, it might hover, it might sink all the way down, doesn't matter. Draw your shoulder bones deeper into their sockets. So you're moving the shoulders back away from the neck. And then you might even see if you're able to look towards the space between the blocks. Now again, you can adjust the height of the blocks. You might explore how it feels to have the blocks on their medium height. Your chin might be touching the floor, might not. If your chin is touching the floor, really be mindful here of still lifting the belly, not dumping it towards the ground, and still sending the shoulder blades under your back. We're here for about 5 or so more breaths. Keep rolling the triceps towards the floor here, opening up across the shoulders as you open up your chest. Now draw the belly in more firmly and slowly rise. Put the blocks aside and we'll prepare for another spinal twist, getting a bit more into the mid-back. Thread the needle. So start with hands and knees on the floor. Then inhale, raise your right arm up high. Exhale, thread it underneath your left bent elbow. As you rest the right side of your head all the way down, notice if it feels comfortable to land on the floor. If it doesn't, grab a block or pillow or whatever you have and rest your head on top. And then take a moment to send your left outer hip towards your rear wall if it's swaying towards the left wall. So you want to kind of center your pelvis, level out the 2 hips, knowing that you're not rotating your pelvis too. You're mainly rotating your rib cage and twisting mostly across your waistline. And now as you flare your left elbow up, stack it just above your left wrist. You could be high on your left fingertips. Let Your shoulder blades move down the back. And again, notice where might your body be asking for you to pay attention to here? Where could you direct your breath in your mind's eye? Got about 8 more breaths here. And as you're ready, gently press the floor so you can slowly rise back to hands and knees. And then swaying your hips left and right. Just a gentle rocking side to side. You might even gently shake your head no. Your skull is rocking with your hips. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Feel free to let it out through your mouth. One more deep inhale. And cleansing exhale. Set up for side 2. Inhale, raise your left arm. Exhale, thread it slowly under your right bent elbow. Lower the left side of your head all the way down. Feel free to place it on a prop as needed. And then feel out your hips here. Center them to align with the center line of your mat. And then level them out. Notice if it might be helpful to send the right outer hip towards your rear wall slightly. And as you're flaring your right elbow towards the sky, draw your 2 shoulders down your back. Tune into any areas in your body might be useful to visualize breathing into. Spiraling across the middle of your torso. We'll be here for about 8 more breaths. And as you've completely emptied your breath, gently press up, back to hands and knees, and then come to sit on your shins for a moment as we prepare to stretch our outer wrists. So making fists out of your hands, connect your fists like you're giving yourself a fist bump, and then place the backs of your fists on the ground about a foot in front of your knees so that you're flaring your elbows apart off the ground. And then begin to shift your weight forward as you feel into the sensation surrounding your front of your forearms, your outer wrists. The more you lean forward, the more the sensation might feel. And then let your neck be loose here. You can give your head some movements. About 5 more breaths. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Om And then sit back onto your shins again, or stand on your knees and shake out your hands, move out your arms, your shoulders. You just wash your hands and you're drying them off. You might even add fluttering your lips here just to let some energy move through. And then come back to hands and knees, all fours. Bend your elbows towards the back wall. Lower your chin towards the ground, and then slide your chest, your belly, your legs onto the ground. Once here, place your right ear onto the floor and slide your right arm straight out to your right side with your palm face down in line with your right shoulder. So now we're going to prepare to open the front side of your shoulder, your chest. Begin to press the floor away with your left hand, beside your left shoulder, and start to slowly roll over onto your right hip. You might be stacking your feet here. Deep breaths. Take a moment to slide your right shoulder blade further down your back, so you're not congesting the right side of your neck. As you feel into the front of your right shoulder, notice it might be helpful to step your left foot on the floor behind you. That will lean more weight into it if you're looking for more sensation. If you're looking for less sensation, you do the opposite. Step the left foot in front of you, lean more forward. So as you find a degree that is a balance of opening, feeling something opening, as well as being able to breathe calmly and deeply, let's take about 10 more breaths on this side. Know that there's also the option, if you're already stepping the left foot behind you and you'd like to feel more sensation from there, to also bend your right knee and step your right foot flat on the floor. You could also explore what it might feel to wrap your left arm behind you, maybe the hands clasped. Long breaths. Last breath here. As you're exhaling, gently roll back onto your stomach to lie face down. Pause here. You can rest your forearms or your forehead on top of your forearms if you like, so that you're comfortable. Just take a few breaths. Notice what you're feeling. And as you continue to listen to your breath evenly rise and fall, begin to place your left ear onto the ground and slide your left arm straight out to the left, palm face down. With your right hand on the floor beside your right shoulder, begin to press the floor away with it, rolling onto your left hip. Tune in here. How's your body guiding you to the depth it needs on the side of your shoulders? Take a moment to slide your left shoulder blade further down your back, opening up the left side of your neck. Filling up your lungs with breath. You might explore stepping the right foot behind you on the floor outside of your mat, or leaning forward. You are stepping the right foot back. You might also explore stepping the foot on the mat so both knees are bent towards the sky, and or wrapping the right arm behind you. How are you responding to your unique body's communication right now? Filling up your lungs and cleansing through the breath. Let's take about 8 more cycles. And as you're exhaling next, gently unwind back to your stomach. Again, find a position that you can rest here for a few breaths and just be still a moment. Observing the effects of that posture. We'll stay on our belly a little longer as we place the forearms in front, coming into Sphinx pose, lifting your chest off the ground. Land your elbows right under your shoulders. See your forearms parallel in front of you with your palms face down. Then scoot your knees as close together as possible as you spread your toes. Stretch your big toes further back to help lengthen your lower back. And pressing every toenail, including your pinky toenail, into the floor, active energy of rooting downward. And as your forearms remain still, draw your chest forward with your breath, opening the collarbones wide apart. Lengthen the back of your neck by looking slightly down, even if your eyes are closed, and glide your shoulder blades further down your back. Can you feel the inner edges of the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, gently pressing the back of your heart forward, blossoming your chest open? Let's take about 4 more breaths. Then cross your left forearm on the ground in front of your chest. Bend your right knee. Backstroke your right arm. Using your right hand, catch hold of the big toe side of your right ankle or foot, not the pinky toe side. Having your knees no wider apart than your hips width apart. Ground both of your frontal hip bones. Turn your chest completely to face forward. And slowly bring your right heel slightly to the outside of your right hip, helping to lengthen the front muscle of your right thigh, your quadricep. Keep relaxing the tops of your shoulders down, broadening your chest forward. An option to heighten intensity, if you're needing that here, is to spin your right hand at the wrist and turn your right fingertips to face the front of your mat as you're pressing the top of your right foot. Make sure there's no feeling of compression in your lower back. Let's take about 5 or more breaths. One more deep breath. And then gently release your right leg straight. Let's pause a moment again in regular Sphinx pose, both forearms in front, scooting your knees as close together as possible. Then cross your right forearm on the floor in front of your chest. Bend your left knee. Backstroke your left arm. And with your left hand, catch hold of the big toe side of your left foot or ankle. Have your knees no wider apart than your hips distance, and this is to help support the length of your lower back. Also, ground your 2 frontal hip bones. Now, with your right forearm pressing the floor in front, turn your chest completely to face forward while relaxing your shoulders. Breath by breath, ease into bringing left heel slightly to the outside of your left hip, lengthening into the front muscle of your left thigh. There's also the option to spin your left hand at the wrist so that your left fingertips are pointing at the front of your mat, further pressing the top of your left foot down. Mindfully breathe here, at least 5 more cycles of breath. Taking your time to release your left leg straight. Once again, let's take one more Sphinx pose, adding a cleansing, releasing, and cooling lion's breath or Simasana pranayama. So that's taking a deep inhalation. Then as you exhale, open your mouth wide and stick out your tongue, releasing any sound. At your own pace, try twice more inhaling. Feel free to be as loud as you can be in your space. Then please slide your hands alongside your shoulders so that you can slide your pelvis back to meet your feet, bringing your feet together to touch and keeping your knees together or splaying them apart into child's pose as you rest your forehead down on the floor, on your forearms, or on a pillow or prop. Arms wherever you like here. If you're needing some more lengthening into your back, especially the lower back, you can find it helpful to press your hands forward so you're straightening the arms. And then rebound that weight down to your hips. Your hips are pulling towards the rear of your mat and sinking down towards your feet. You might also add consciously breathing into your lower back. We'll be here for about 8 more breaths. Take your time to crawl your hands back alongside your knees. Then tuck your chin towards your chest. And with a slow inhale, slowly roll your spine upright to stack one vertebra at a time. Rising to sit, please extend your legs in front of you. So have sort of a V shape with your legs. They don't have to be a complete straddle, just more of a comfortable V shape with legs extended. And please take the strap, holding it in your left hand, raise your left arm so that the long tail of the strap dangles behind your back. Then use your right hand to help rotate the outer side of your left upper arm forward. Then plug your shoulder bone into its socket as you bring the left elbow, land your left, reaching your right hand behind you, catch the other end of the strap, walk your hands as close together as you can. You might clasp your fingers and release the strap. Take a deep inhale and splay your collarbones, lift your sternum and look up. Firming your belly towards your back slightly, exhale, begin to bow forward. Inhale, ground your pelvis and lengthen your spine from it. Exhale, maybe bow a little more. We won't be here too long, just about 3 more breaths. Now firming the belly, press downward through your legs and pelvis. Inhale, lead with your chest to slowly rise up. Release your arms, grab the strap in your hand. Raise your right arm so that you're dangling the tail of the strap behind your back. Use your left hand to help rotate your right tricep forward, plugging the right upper arm bone into the shoulder socket. As you guide your right elbow behind your head, land your right palm between your shoulder blades. Reach your left hand underneath to grab the other end of the strap. Walk your hands as close together as you can. You might clasp your fingers and release the strap. Take a deep breath and broaden and lift your chest. Belly firming in. Exhale, begin to hinge forward from your hips. Pause as you breathe in. Root downward to your pelvis and legs while lengthening from your hips. Exhale, maybe fold a little more. Taking that breath by breath for about 3 more cycles. Belly firming in, lead from your chest. Inhale to slowly rise up. Then releasing your arms, let's set up for Shavasana. You could grab a pillow if you'd like to offer your lower back some release. Cross it underneath the backs of your knees as you splay your feet apart, wider than hips width. If you want a bit more to open up the chest, you could take your 2 blocks and make an equal sign out of them, so that they're both crossing your mat on their medium height. The closer block is where you'll land, the area right beneath your shoulder blades onto. And the further block is where you land the back of your skull. Then you might splay your arms apart or land them slightly away from your thighs with your palms turned up, rolling your shoulder heads behind you and moving the shoulder blades down your back. Now take any last gentle adjustments so that your body feels as symmetrical as possible on left and right sides. Find softness from top of your head, slowly all the way down to the soles of your feet, throughout your palms. As you take one more slow breath in, as though breathing into all of your body. And as you're ready, releasing that breath slowly out through your lips, letting all effort go. as we reside in stillness for the next few minutes. As you gently begin to move your body, easing out of stillness. might choose to keep your eyes closed. Continue to connect inward. Moving from one easy stretch to another. Gradually turn your body over to the right side. Pressing your hands into the ground. As you're ready, rise into a comfortable seat. To culminate this yoga practice with 5 minutes in meditation. Set your body up comfortably so that you can be attentive and relaxed. You may like to place your palms face up, stacked, the center of your lap, thumb tips touching, or take a focusing mudra like dhyana, where the thumb and index fingers touch. Close your eyes or steady a soft gaze on one spot as you sit tall with shoulders relaxed. Let's begin these 5 minutes. So as you've cultivated ease and relaxation and openness in your body and mind, let's take this opportunity to witness the ways that the mind may fluctuate as you observe whatever arises in the next few minutes. Feel into your own presence that who is witnessing the mind and its workings. Gently inhale in your heart center. And exhale, joining your palms to meet your heart. Bowing in. How might you infuse the rest of your week with moments of pause, observing the workings of your mind, reminding yourself you are the witness of it. Let's close this practice with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.